Have you ever missed the quiet signs that someone is drawn to you, signs so subtle they slip past unnoticed, yet they hold the power to change everything? Most men overlook these moments not because they're blind, but because they're distracted. And in doing so, they let connections slip through their fingers. A woman may never speak her feelings outright. Pride, caution, or curiosity often keep her silent. But her actions, small, deliberate, and unspoken, will betray what words conceal. As Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. In attraction, listening is more than hearing. It's seeing, it's reading what's left unsaid. One of the clearest signals is proximity. A woman who feels no interest will keep her distance, body angled away, space intact, contact avoided. But when there's attraction, the space between you begins to shrink. She finds reasons to be near, standing beside you in a group, walking at your pace, leaning in when she speaks. This is not chance, it's instinct. People move closer to what draws them. Then there's the subtle touch. A light brush of her hand against yours as she passes something to you. A gentle touch on your arm when she laughs, adjusting a small detail on your jacket as if it were nothing. These are not accidents. They are tests. A way to feel the connection without naming it. If you've ever noticed how someone can accidentally lean so close you catch their scent, you've experienced this signal firsthand. But here's the truth. The touch itself is not the point. It's the pattern. A single moment can be coincidence, but repetition is intention. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If she keeps finding ways to close the gap, her thoughts have already drawn her toward you. The danger for men lies in 2 extremes, missing the sign entirely or overreacting to it. Both can break the moment. The Stoic path is the middle one. Notice without neediness. Acknowledge without chasing. Hold her gaze for a beat longer. Turn her touch lightly, naturally. Make it an equal exchange, not a grab for more. A real-world example. Imagine a work event. She could stand anywhere, yet she chooses the spot beside you. Her laughter comes with a soft touch to your sleeve. Later, she leans in to glance at your phone, closing the space between you. She may not even be fully aware of her choices, but you should be. Attraction is not always announced. It's often whispered in proximity, in the breaking of invisible barriers. In the way her presence seeks yours without asking permission. The man who can see these moments calmly, clearly has the advantage. Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So be prepared. Watch with patience. Respond with quiet strength. And when the signs appear, meet them as a man who doesn't chase approval, but recognizes connection for what it is and lets it grow. There is a language older than words, a language spoken in glances. Eye contact has the power to bypass logic and speak directly to the heart. When a woman feels drawn to you, her eyes will reveal it long before her lips will. Most men mistake eye contact for a single locked gaze, but it's more than that. It's the way she looks at you, the rhythm, the repetition. A woman without interest will look away quickly or avoid your eyes altogether. But a woman who's intrigued will hold your gaze just a fraction longer than necessary, letting the moment linger before breaking it often with a subtle smile. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If her thoughts are on you, you will see it in her eyes. Perhaps you're across the room, and every time you glance her way, you catch her looking back or in a group. She checks in visually, locking eyes for a second before resuming her conversation. It's a quiet way of keeping the connection alive in public. Consider a real-world example. At a crowded gathering, you notice her gaze meeting yours not once, but again and again. Sometimes it's fleeting, a quick half-second glance followed by looking away, testing if you'll notice. Other times, it's bold and unbroken, as if the world around you is faded. These are not random moments. They're deliberate threads she's weaving between you. The danger lies in mishandling the moment. Look away too quickly and you seem unsure. Hold on. It too long and you risk breaking the natural rhythm. The Stoic way is balance, match your energy. If she holds your gaze for 2 seconds, you hold for 2. Let the silence do its work. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In this case, be content to let the gaze speak without forcing words into it. Eye contact is often paired with other small cues: a tilt of the head, parted lips, raised eyebrows when she sees you. Each one amplifies the attraction without a word spoken. The man who notices without overreacting keeps the mystery alive. Attraction rarely announces itself in grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as a glance that lasts just a beat too long. And the man who meets that glance with calm confidence tells her without words, "I see you, and I'm not afraid to hold this moment." As Seneca reminded us, he who is brave is free. In the language of attraction, bravery is found in the stillness of your gaze. Some of the most powerful signs of connection are the ones you barely notice, like mirroring. When a woman is drawn to you, her body naturally begins to reflect yours. It's not a conscious act, but a silent alignment of energy. Mirroring can be as simple as matching your posture, gestures, or rhythm. You lean forward, she leans forward. You rest your arm on the table. Moments later, she does the same. Even the pace of your steps when walking can fall into sync. This is not imitation, it's instinct. As Marcus Aurelius said, observe how all things change into one another. In attraction, that change can be to people moving as if they share the same unspoken rhythm. Picture a casual coffee meeting. You take a sip from your cup, and a few seconds later, she takes hers. Because she's thirsty, but because she's tuned into your presence. Or perhaps you cross your legs, and moments later, she mirrors the gesture without realizing it. It's like dancing without music, yet both of you are moving to the same beat. The Stoics valued harmony not only within the self, but between individuals. Epictetus reminded us to listen twice as much as you speak. Mirroring is her way of listening to you not with her ears, but with her presence. The more she feels connected, the more her body aligns with yours. Sometimes mirroring is immediate, other times it's delayed. Either way, it's a reflection of comfort and trust. You may notice it during moments of shared laughter or quiet conversation, when the energy between you is at its strongest. These are moments when walls come down and connection deepens. But there's a caution. Here, don't test this by making exaggerated movements to catch her in the act. Real mirroring is fluid and unconscious. Your role is to simply notice it and appreciate it as a sign of mutual connection. As Seneca wrote, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. In the context of attraction, this kindness is expressed through presence, through the unspoken dance of two people who are, without effort, moving as one. Laughter is more than a reaction, it's a bridge. When a woman likes you, she doesn't just laugh at the truly funny moments. She laughs because she enjoys the connection itself. Even a small, ordinary remark can draw out a warm smile or a soft laugh when there's attraction. This laughter isn't about the sharpness of your wit, it's about the comfort she feels in your presence. Seneca once wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." In the same way, her laughter is less about the joke and more about the way you make her feel light, at ease, and open. Picture a moment in a cafe. You make a simple comment about the weather, nothing remarkable, and yet she laughs. Not forced, not exaggerated, but natural. Her body leans slightly toward you, her eyes brighten. She's not rewarding your comedy. She's rewarding your company. Psychology tells us we laugh more around those we're attracted to because it signals approval and shared understanding. It's a social bond that says, "I feel good when I'm with you." Sometimes her laughter will come in those in-between moments when you stumble over a word or make a small gesture without meaning to be funny. It's her way of keeping the atmosphere warm and connected. The Stoics would caution against chasing her laughter as validation. Marcus Aurelius advised, receive without pride, let go without attachment. Appreciate her response without performing for it. The goal is to stay authentic, not to mold yourself into what you think she wants. Genuine attraction can be heard in the tone and warmth of her laughter. It's fuller, often paired with other signs like touching her hair, leaning closer, or holding your gaze for a heartbeat after the laugh fades. These moments are not cues to boast. They're quiet confirmations of the connection you've built. In the end, laughter is one of the simplest and purest tells of interest. It's not something you can force, and when it's real, it becomes one of the most powerful tools of connection, one that, like all things worth keeping, grows naturally. When nurtured with presence and sincerity, some signals of attraction are almost primal, rooted in body language that has existed for centuries. One of them is when a woman plays with her hair or touches her neck while speaking to you. These gestures might seem small, even casual, but in the right context, they are deeply telling. Hair touches draw your eyes to her face, her smile, the curve of her jaw. It's a non-verbal way of saying, "Notice me." Touching the neck, one of the body's most vulnerable areas, is even more revealing. It signals openness, comfort, and sometimes a hint of nervous excitement. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When her thoughts turn toward attraction, her body often follows. Picture a real example. You're in conversation, and as she listens, she tucks her hair behind her ear, tilts her head slightly, and lets her fingers linger near her neck. She doesn't do this with others in the room, only with you. This isn't coincidence. It's connection expressed through movement. Psychologists call these pining gestures subconscious signs of courtship. They can also be self-soothing gestures, ways to channel nervous energy when she's around someone who matters to her. Epictetus reminded us, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. In this case, her gestures reflect the way she sees you and the emotional impact you have. Context matters. Some women habitually play with their hair, but when paired with other cues, like leaning closer, smiling often, or holding eye contact, these gestures become clear signs of interest. They often appear during moments of emotional intensity, after a playful tease, during a deep question, or when you've just shared something personal. Your role is not to call it out or make it awkward. The Stoic approach is to observe calmly and respond with presence. If the connection is real, it will grow without you forcing it. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Recognizing these moments is your preparation. How you carry yourself afterward is your opportunity. Attraction often speaks in whispers, and the woman who draws attention to her own beauty, whether consciously or not, is telling you more than her words ever will. Nervousness is one of the most honest signs of attraction because it's almost impossible to fake and equally hard to hide. When a woman feels drawn to you but doesn't want to make it obvious, her body may give her away through small, restless movements. She might adjust her clothes more than usual, tap her foot, shift her weight, or play with something in her hands. This isn't discomfort, it's the body's response to heightened emotion. As adrenaline flows, her breathing changes, her heart rate increases, and her hands search for something to do. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." In this case, her perception of you and what could happen creates the reaction. Good nervousness is different from bad nervousness. The bad kind closes the body, arms crossed, leaning away, avoiding eye contact. The good kind comes with openness, leaning in, smiling, making brief but repeated eye contact. You might see her drop something and laugh softly as she picks it up, or touch her hair even when it doesn't need fixing. These micro moments signal she's aware of you in a way she's not with others. There's also the micro freeze, when she pauses mid-movement, suddenly conscious of how she's coming across. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. For a man, the Stoic way is to remain steady and calm when she shows these signs. Don't rush to call them out. Let her relax into your presence. Often, this nervous energy will be layered with other cues, longer eye contact, leaning closer, or mirroring your movements. When you see them together, the picture becomes clearer. But always remember, the goal is not to make her more self-conscious. Your composure will help her feel safe, which deepens trust and, in time, attraction. Like a flame flickering in the wind, her nervousness isn't weakness. It's a sign of something alive, something beginning. The man who understands this will respond not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence. When a woman begins asking personal questions, not just about your day, but about your life, your values, and your future. It's rarely casual. It's a sign she's investing her attention and quietly assessing whether her path could align with yours. She may ask where you see yourself in 5 years, what inspired your career choice, or how you feel about family and commitment. These aren't small talk, they're windows into your character and your vision. As Seneca said, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. By asking, she's trying to discover the port you're aiming for, and whether she can sail alongside you. Imagine a friend group where conversations are usually light. One day, she shifts the topic with you asking about your goals, your dreams, and your past experiences. She listens intently, remembers details, and even follows up on them later. That's intentional. People rarely store these details unless they see you as significant. Often, these questions come in relaxed moments, a walk after an event, coffee on a quiet afternoon when defenses are low and honesty flows more freely. She might ask, what's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet? Or would you ever move to another city? Each answer helps her picture the kind of life she could share with you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The best way to respond is with authenticity. Don't tailor your answers to impress, be truthful about your direction. If she's genuinely interested, your honesty will only strengthen the connection. A woman's curiosity about your life is not random. It's a quiet way of stepping into your world, testing the waters before committing to the swim. The man who recognizes this will answer with openness, but without losing himself in the process. One of the quieter but most telling signs of attraction is the casual compliment. She won't gush or make it too obvious. Instead, it comes wrapped in a light tone that color looks good on you, or you're actually pretty funny. These are small, intentional hints that she notices you. Why so casual? Because it's safer. A woman who likes you but doesn't want to risk rejection will often keep her praise understated,
Testing the waters without revealing too much.
As Epictetus said, if someone tried to hand you a gift and you refused it, to whom would it belong? In this case, the gift is the compliment. Accept it with quiet confidence. Pay attention to what she chooses to compliment. If it's something deeper than appearance or calm under pressure, your way of explaining things, or how you remember small details, it means she's been watching you closely. Sometimes the compliment will come with playful teasing like, you clean up nicely. Didn't know you had it in you. This is attraction in disguise, allowing her to connect while keeping things light. Consider a real-world moment. You're telling a story, not trying to impress anyone. And she interrupts with, you have a really good way of putting things. That wasn't planned, it was instinct. She saw a part of you she liked and wanted. You two know, Marcus Aurelius advised. Receive without pride, let go without attachment. That applies here. Don't let a compliment inflate your ego, and don't dismiss it either. Simply acknowledge it, maybe with a smile or a light remark. Then continue as you were. The less you make of it, the more natural the connection feels. Casual compliments are like breadcrumbs. It's alone they may seem small, but when they appear alongside other signs proximity, touch, focused attention, they paint a clearer picture. And women rarely offer them to men they feel nothing for. So if she's dropping those hints, she's telling you she sees something worth noticing. Sometimes, the strongest sign of attraction is the one that looks like indifference. She might act as if she hasn't noticed you, yet somehow she's aware of where you are, what you're doing, and even what you've said from across the room. This is intentional ignorance, appearing detached while quietly paying close attention. Why? Because watching without being seen allows her to protect her vulnerability. Admitting she's aware of you would mean revealing interest and with it the risk of rejection, so she chooses the safer route, keeping her body language neutral while her attention stays locked on you. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. She's controlling what she shows, even if she can't control what she feels. You might notice she somehow knows details she couldn't have picked up unless she was watching, commenting on your laughter from earlier, or knowing when you stepped out. These are not coincidences. They're proof she's been tracking you without drawing attention to it. A real-world example. At a social event, you move from one side of the room to the other. Minutes later, she adjusts her spot so you're still. Within her view, she may not speak to you right away, but her awareness doesn't waver. This is effort, more effort than anyone would invest in someone they truly didn't care about. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In her imagination, she's measuring you, watching your interactions, and deciding if you're worth stepping closer to. The wrong move on your part would be to call her out or try to catch her watching. That turns it into a game and breaks the natural tension. The Stoic approach: stay composed. Live as if you know you're being watched, but without performing for it. Let her curiosity build on its own. Curiosity is a powerful seed. When nurtured by mystery and quiet confidence, it often grows into action. In modern connection, observation is a safe first step. If she's pretending not to notice you, but her awareness tells another story, she's already telling you more than her words ever will. Some moments don't need to be loud to change the course of connection. Often, it's the quiet awareness, the way that people begin to sense each other's presence even without constant interaction, that builds the strongest attraction. She may not speak every time you cross paths, but the subtle acknowledgement is there, shaping the space between you. In these moments, you'll notice her energy shift when you enter the room. She might adjust her position, her tone softens, or her attention sharpens. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Her thoughts have been on you, even briefly. Her body language will reflect its small movements, quick glances, or changes in her expression. Sometimes this awareness takes the form of her positioning herself, where your paths might naturally cross. Other times, she's simply attuned to the small things you do, catching a smile you gave someone else, noticing the way you carry yourself, or how you interact with others. Epictetus reminded us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In attraction, this listening isn't just with the ears, it's observing quietly, without demanding attention. Consider a real-world example. You're at a gathering. She's in conversation across the room but seems to register when you change position. She might not move toward you right away, but her awareness lingers. These patterns are rarely accidental. They require focus, and people don't invest focus in those they feel nothing for. The key is not to chase these moments, but to allow them to breathe. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Preparation here is self-mastering, maintaining calm confidence, so that when opportunity arises, you meet it as yourself, not as someone performing for approval. Connection often begins in this subtle space, where curiosity and interest grow quietly. The man who can hold himself steady in that space invites her to step closer, not because he pulled her in, but because she chose to come. When a woman becomes curious about your world, she will find ways to step into it, sometimes subtly, sometimes directly. She may ask about your interests, your routines, or the people you spend time with. This isn't idle conversation. Her way of mapping out the life you lead and seeing if there's a place for her in it. Often, her questions come disguised as casual remarks. "Do you usually come here?" Or "What do you do when you're not working?" Yet, she listens closely to the answers, storing details for later. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you notice she remembers small things you've said, it's because you've occupied her thoughts. Sometimes she'll use shared experiences as an excuse to connect, bringing up a topic you once discussed or suggesting something you mentioned wanting to try. Epictetus advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In attraction, she's doing just that, testing whether your lives align before taking bigger steps. Picture this. You mention in passing that you've been meaning to visit a certain cafe. Weeks later, she casually says, "I was near that place you like. Have you gone yet?" That's not coincidence. It's intention wrapped in subtlety. The Stoic approach to this is simple: answer honestly, without trying to craft the perfect response. Seneca reminded us, "He who is brave is free." Bravery in this context is being genuine, showing who you are without hiding or performing. When a woman invests her attention into knowing you, not just what you do, but who you are. It's an early step toward trust. Recognizing this and meeting it with authenticity is how deeper connections begin. A subtle yet unmistakable sign of attraction is when she positions herself to be part of your environment without making it obvious. She might choose a seat near you, linger in places you frequent, or find reasons to cross paths. It's quiet. Presence is a way of staying connected while still appearing casual. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If her thoughts are on you, she will naturally gravitate toward your orbit. She doesn't have to speak every time. Sometimes it's enough just to be near. This isn't random. People rarely invest time in places or moments that hold no meaning. For them, you might notice she arrives early to events you're at, or stays a little longer after you do. In a group, she could sit beside you, even when other spots are open. Epictetus reminded us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In attraction, this listening can mean observing your presence, your mood, your energy, without interrupting it. Consider this. You're at a mutual friends gathering. She's engaged in conversation across the room, but shifts her position just enough to stay in your line of sight. Later, she happens to be walking in your direction as you're leaving, offering a quick remark or shared smile. These are deliberate choices disguised as coincidence, Seneca wrote. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Her presence is the preparation, placing herself in moments where interaction could naturally happen. The opportunity is yours to recognize and respond with calm confidence. When someone makes the effort to be where you are, without demanding your attention, it's a quiet form of investment. And in matters of connection, these quiet investments often speak louder than words. One of the clearest signs someone values your presence is when they remember the smallest details you've shared, things you may have even forgotten saying. In attraction, this isn't just good memory, it's selective attention. She's storing information because to her it matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If she recalls your favorite book, a story from your childhood, or a goal you mentioned weeks ago, it's because you've been in her thoughts beyond the moments you've shared. These callbacks often appear in unexpected ways. She might ask, "Did you ever finish that project you told me about?" Or, "I saw something that reminded me of what you said last time." These moments are her way of telling you, without saying it directly, that she listens, she notices, and she values your words. Epictetus advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Remembering your details is her way of aligning with the connection. She's building, showing consistency between what she feels and what she does. Consider a simple example. You once mentioned liking a specific coffee blend. Weeks later, she brings it up, or even brings you a cup. It's not about the coffee. It's about showing that she sees you in a way others don't, Seneca said. Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. These small acts of remembrance are kindness wrapped in intention, and they reveal more than any direct confession could. When a woman remembers the little things, she's quietly telling you that you matter. The man who understands this will acknowledge it with gratitude, not as a victory, but as the foundation of something worth building. Attraction isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in the smallest shifts, the way she glances your way, angles her body toward you, or positions herself close enough to overhear your words. These are the details that reveal more than direct confessions ever could. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The man who learns to notice subtlety finds meaning in what others overlook. When she repeatedly makes herself present in your space, even in a crowded room, it's not random. It's a quiet decision to be near you. You might notice her leaning in slightly when you speak to someone else, or finding a reason to pass by your side. She may not always engage directly, but she stays within reach, allowing opportunities for interaction to arise naturally. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In connection, this means letting moments unfold without forcing them, trusting that what is meant to grow will grow. Consider a real-world example. At a social gathering, you move to another part of the room. Minutes later, she's there to chatting with others, yet somehow close enough for you to exchange a glance or a quick word. These are not coincidences. They're part of an unspoken rhythm, Seneca reminded us. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Her presence is preparation, the groundwork for moments of connection. Your role is to meet those moments with composure and authenticity. Distraction often begins in these quiet spaces, where words are few, but awareness is constant.
What?
The man who notices, yet remains calm, allows curiosity to deepen into something real.